happens. Just because, I don't know. Like, the Thursday game is so bizarre.
It's because they have to share it with a football team, and the football team plays on Sunday, or Saturday.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. I guess that kind of favors you guys now, though, with all the injuries that the Sounders had the first 30 minutes of that game.
Well, I do hope he's okay, but I mean, Chad Marshall, like if you getting stretchered off, like you're not going to be making, even if it's minor, you're not coming back in time for Thursday. And I'm actually being told that it's not the football game, like the Seahawks that are making it have to go to Thursday. I guess there's an international car show going on that weekend.
Oh man, that's good.
Somehow that's making them have to do it on Thursday. So all right,
that's good. I'm glad that it's not something normal. Like a football game is too normal and understandable. A car show, super on brand MLS. Anyway, hey Pony, how's it going? Do you want the chat and/or the show notes? I can link them again.
If we have show notes, that could be nice.
Wow. All right, that hurt.
Well, there's no Ryan.
No, he's done it like at least 3 times this whole season.
Okay, Pony. I'm glad I get to air my grievances out with an audience. That's always good. Just because there's no Ryan does not mean I can embarrass myself to 3 other people by showing them these show notes.
All right.
And if you want to go harass people in the chat in a very polite and civil manner, you can do that here.
I don't know about polite and civil, but
well, we have one rule here, guys. It's don't be a dick. That's all I got.
That's true.
See, look at that.
YouTube chat has a pretty low bar.
Yeah, but be the change you want to see in the world, Pony.
Yeah.
Everyone vote Tuesday. There we go.
I already voted.
I dropped my ballot off.
Whatever. Tonight. Oh my god. Okay. All right. I
can vote from my couch. I love Oregon.
Kev, are you 65?
Yes.
No.
I feel like old people do the absentee ballot.
No.
Dude, Colorado is only a mail-in state, sir. Thank you.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oregon is mail-in voting, so I got my ballot like 3 weeks ago, and then I haven't. The only reason I had to drop it off is because I wanted to make sure it got in, and I didn't want to like risk a postmark the day before.
I get to feed the gimmick when I vote. That's fun.
What is that? What's the gimmick?
The thing that they used to count the ballot.
It's called a gimmick?
Well, I call everything that I don't know the actual name for a gimmick.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Anyway, hi everybody. Welcome to the USL show for this week, the week of November 5th. The lead up to the USL Cup, the first one that we're doing. This episode is called "Keep Talking Until the Cops," or can we act like we're talking until the cops come? I messed up my own reference. You'll see it in the title. It's fine. I'm your host, Evan Villela. Hi, if you're new, thank you for coming. There's too many of you following us on Twitter, and I've said that when there was 1,000 of you, and I mean it even more when there's nearly 1,500 of you. So thank you. If you're here due to us breaking some League One news, welcome. If you're here due to us defending Charleston Battery, also welcome. It's all love. We like the USL, so we talk about it every week. I'm your host, like I said, Evan Villela. I'm like the best parts of Audrey Hepburn and RuPaul Charles, basically, without any of the, swagger or good looks, but it is what it is. Joining me this week, it is the waviest man in the St. Louis metropolitan area, the cream in your Irish coffee, my good friend Phil Grooms. Phil, what's up, man?
What's up? Can we talk about your reference there to yourself?
Yeah, what's up?
Did you think that through just a little bit? That wasn't off the cuff, was it?
It was close to off the cuff. That was like a 30-minute ago reference.
I like that combo. It's good.
I think it's a really good combo.
I'd hang out with that combo, and
I would just hang out with RuPaul, if I'm honest.
I would enjoy it for real.
Yeah.
And
anyway,
and the other one, what's her name? Audrey Hepburn.
Audrey Hepburn, man. Like you gotta
Audrey Hepburn.
Also joining me this week. Speaking of comparisons of people, I kind of stole my own nickname gimmick for you. It's the best parts of Chuck Palahniuk and Elliott Smith, all wrapped into one. It's the biggest man in the USL, Big Kev McCamish.
Big fluffy man. What's up?
Big fluffy man. Portland Timbers, here we go. Portland Timbers, here we go. Good
Yep.
point, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Because I absolutely had everything to do with it.
You had all of the things to do with that win. You went down there. You went, Gio, listen, this is how it's going to be. And he went, you know what, random fan, because he probably doesn't know who you are. You're right. And that's what we did.
It was the first game that I've been able to make it to in Portland in months, actually.
Well, that's all right.
I've been so busy.
That's fine. Just be glad the team made it there too. You know, that's a big one.
That's true.
Also joining us last and certainly not least, if the USL had an Equestria, he would be our Rainbow Dash. If he hates your team, it's one, because he has the facts to back it up, and two, because you're right, he probably does. It's Pony.
It's brutal. We having one more game left this season.
I know. Where are you going to
third
spew
place
your
game.
hate in the off season?
I don't know. I think the Bengals are still playing.
I love that you just said that we need a third place game.
The bronze. What do we? Okay, no, hold on. What are we pitching the third place award be?
A hearty pat on the back.
Can it be the old guard shield?
Oh.
No.
So,
Okay.
so if we would have had a third place game this season, it would have been Orange County versus New York Red Bulls 2. Just since we're talking about it, who do you guys think would win between those two? I'm thinking Orange County.
I don't.
Probably.
Does travel matter, or are they playing this at a neutral site somewhere?
Oh, that's a good point. Who was the highest?
Hold on. They should play it at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indy.
That's actually a good point. Do it something. Although I guess the highest seed wouldn't matter because Orange County couldn't host nothing no matter what this year. Right?
It's true. It's true.
You're doing it on the East Coast no matter what.
Yeah.
So do you
Lucas
think
Oil.
200 fans in Red Bull Arena Stadium will make a difference?
Are they flying us out and then counting us 5 times?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well,
but hey, I'll go with this game if they're going to fly us out there.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Can't get any more neutral than St. Louis. That's true, Steven.
No, I mean, we wouldn't play favorites between East and West.
Because you were always in East or West or East or West or East or West.
We'd love to cheer. We'd love to have bias, but we're not sure what we are right now.
Yeah, don't say anything. Knock on wood, because the 2019 schedule hasn't come out yet. So
you'll just keep looking at Jake Edwards and seeing if he's on the eastern side or the western side of the stadium, and you'll be like, "Oh, that has to mean something."
I'm gonna be watching him like a defendant watches a jury come tell him whether they're
That's. Hey guys, I know there wasn't a lot of soccer played this week, but there was soccer played this week. Imagine. That was my attempt to try to get things back on track. So, with that being said, let's get into the news, and then we will talk. A little bit of the news, and then we'll talk about the games. Then I think we'll end on the first team and second team all league voting things here. News that came out broke by us, in fact, in part. USL League One announces their season structure for their inaugural campaign in 2019. It'll be 10 teams. It's a single table, so not an East and a West. It's just 10 teams, 1 through 10. 4-team playoff. It's 28 games, with each club playing 8 teams 3 times and 1 team 4 times.
Very nice.
So a little bit of that regional rivalry that we saw USL do in 2016 and 17, where you play a team 3 times. 3 times, but they moved it up to 4 just because there's only 10 teams. And then the 10th team announced as FC Dallas's MLS 2 side, who are not being called the, Dallas Tornadoes was the copyright. I was told by the league that was a placeholder trademark, and that FC Dallas themselves will announce the branding at a later date, as well as coaches and players and things like that. So,
but what kind, if they could, the Dallas Tornado doesn't sound half bad, and then
it's not.
And then they're also going in uncharted territory by naming a 2 side without the number 2 or the letter 2 or the word 2 anywhere in it.
Why should be FC Dallas Roman numerals 2?
Wait, the whole name?
There we go.
Okay, all right.
Roman numerals 2.
But it's
No,
but
see,
it's,
they gotta get creative. They have to name the team the Romans and just have 2 pillars in the background.
but it's Roman numerals 2, and it's like also like TOO.
Oh no, like I like it.
Yeah.
So let's talk something legit about this schedule.
Sure.
Is
Yeah.
that it looks like it only starts if the 2019 schedule is anything like 2018 for USL Championship. It only starts like 2 weeks before and ends right around the same time. So
Yeah.
you know, I kept wondering if teams were going to, if it was going to affect like player movements, like if a team's out of it and they end the season 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks before championship, then a whole bunch of players are going to move. Well, looks like it'll be just less midweek games for League One and have the same amount of time start to finish at least. So
yeah, first week is March 29 to 31. Last week of the regular season is October 4th through the 6th. Playoffs start on the 11th to the 13th of October, and they are done the 17th through the 21st. So 14 playoff, pretty quick to get to where you need to be. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go up to 12 or more for 2020, if I'm honest.
Oh yeah, I think it'll be easy.
Yeah,
it'll be easy. And they've, I think that could be even 2 teams and expansion teams because it sounds like there's guys waiting in the wings to get in. So
yep, yeah,
great.
Yeah. Fun fact: Phoenix Rising coach Rick Shantz was actually one of the owners of FC Tucson back in the day. There you go. Oh, and then some other USL show related news. Wasn't able to get a hold of anybody today at the league, so sorry, Ryan, for playing phone tag with you. The plan, I know everyone's a little busy with a game coming up on Thursday. Plan is to talk to Louisville City head coach John Hackworth and captain Paolo Del Piccolo, as well as Phoenix Rising FC head coach Rick Shantz, and a player to be named later. I don't know who it's going to be. I know who everyone would like it to be, but I don't know if it's going to be that guy, so I won't say anything. And I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know when we're going to have that for you, if we're going to have that for you, but there is totally things in the works that I don't probably even know about to make those guys available to me to interview them and get it uploaded before Thursday night's final. So stay tuned for all that stuff, but I'm really excited because that's a very nice thing to have to talk to all those gentlemen. Yeah.
It's a big deal.
It is. I'm excited.
And we're all kind of talking about questions behind the scenes and they keep flowing in. There's a lot to talk about.
That'll be fun.
Stories too that we've been looking into.
There's a couple really fun things with Del Piccolo and playing college ball at U of Louisville and played for Arizona United in 2014, I think. And it's there's a lot more to it than you'd think just by looking at I don't know, player names.
Yep, that's a good teaser, right?
That's good enough. That's good enough. I would have liked to have hey, we're going to interview all these guys X day so I can get it out to people X day, but it is what it is. I get it. Not like it's a busy week for the league or anything, with the final. Speaking of, I guess we should talk about the games that got us there. Where is it? There it is. I got it. For the last time this season, probably. I will flip the Talking Jacks pin. Again, is it evenly weighted? No, of course not. It's a pin. Have you ever felt a pin? They're not evenly weighted. But I'm flipping it nonetheless. Heads, as it were, means Eastern Conference, just because our friends Alex and Goose are Eastern Conference people. Tails means West. We have a tails. That is
no way.
That is impressive, actually. That's the lighter side. So we're going to talk about the Western Conference. Orange County won the first seed. The third seed, Phoenix Rising 2. Dream start for Phoenix. Cortez scores in the second minute, and then Drogba, who else, puts home the game winner, matter of fact, in the 73rd. Hashimoto gets one back for Orange County in the 82nd. but that was not enough. Phoenix advances to their first Western Conference final. Guys, thoughts on this one?
Dream start is right. I feel like that was it almost. If you watch the whole game, OC never really got started. And I think this is what Pony said at the end of our last episode, that perhaps the best defense will win the day. Well, it's a mix, of course, because of the early goal that threw everything out the window pretty quickly. But Phoenix really locked it down. I never really saw a good attack that was like the OC that we know and love, that kind of dangerous play, getting balls in behind. Quinn was managed very nicely. They were just able to defend out, and I think they had a really good game. Once they got that first goal, it was almost shut down at that point.
Yeah.
Right. I think Phoenix, their defense looked a lot better in this game. For the first 2 games, they looked at Portland, they looked a little shaky. Against Swope Park, they allowed 2 goals, and it probably could have been more, but Orange County's a good offense, and they locked them down for the most part. I mean, it wasn't a complete blowout. Orange County was definitely in this one. One lucky bounce, so to speak, would probably have tipped it the other way, but that first goal almost seemed to change the script for Phoenix, where they didn't need to press and attack as much as they normally do and kind of just absorb the pressure from Orange County. And as it went on, it looked like Orange County got more and more desperate and disjointed at their attack.
Yeah, I mean, they had their dangerous moments for sure, but it wasn't anything. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't smooth. It was like, let's bounce the ball around a lot because we're all right here around the box, and they just never were able to quite finish. One of those could have gone in, and the game could have changed completely. But another story in this game, I think, was like, I feel like Phoenix played the ref the right way. I don't know if anyone's got that vibe from this game, but if there's always this like undermining story of who can play the ref the best way, and sometimes it comes into play. And Phoenix really they figured out how he was calling, and they used it to their benefit. I'm not sure how many refs go against what Drogba is claiming.
They always have an out legend on their team.
I know, and man, you almost get the feeling the ref doesn't want to say no to Drogba, but they did once or twice. But man, if he went down, there was a whistle. And I just looked at one play and I was like, he's twice the size of the person that just knocked him down. He went down twice at his own choice. You know what I mean? And then, so it's hard to watch that sometimes. But that's soccer. He's playing it tactically. So there it is. But if I was the Orange County fan and I was present, I'd be screaming at Drogba the whole game. I know for a fact I would have been frustrated. And I guess that's the real story, is that OC showed a lot of frustration. I think partly because they couldn't get their thing going the way they hoped and normally do. And then I think that the ref and the fouling did play into that a little bit as well.
Yeah. What blew me away upon, going on to the, man, as slow as it is to load sometimes, I love that we have all the Opta stats at our disposal now. Possession 67-33 in favor of Orange County, which is crazy. The problem, Orange County had 19 shots to Phoenix's 13, but they only put 4 on target as opposed to Phoenix's 5. So
yeah, at the first half, it was 4-11. OC was in charge, but none of those shots were all that good,
Right. Yeah. You got to be clinical with, you have to be clinical, but you also have to make good chances, right? Like I don't sure, Anna Voltson and Quinn and they have playmakers on that team that can pull something out of nothing, but it's a lot easier, especially for Orange County, who, we've seen, they like to move the ball around, they like to get open, they like to find space. You got to do a little better than that. And Pony, like you were saying, I guess Phoenix heard us or saw your tweet about their defense being a little shaky, because they were able to tighten things up enough that it wasn't as big of a deal until Phoenix was up 2-0 at the point where Hashimoto got his. So
yeah, I think if either the first or second round Phoenix team showed up to this game, Orange County would have won, but they fixed the the weaknesses, or either just found a way to really shut down the key Orange County attackers, and they got through it. But it'll be interesting to see him now against a team who put up 5 goals. I'm not sure. That's a whole different level of attack they're facing this round.
Right. Well, they're missing a piece or two. Might be interesting.
But Phoenix has to travel.
Yeah.
Going to the East, like,
yeah. Who knows?
Well, the thing is, at least
I'm older and out of shape, but when I had to fly to Kansas City and Dallas earlier this year, that was like, oh man, this is so far. But then again, as a coach, I don't know.
I say though, I think Louisville will have quite as big of a home field advantage because they're playing in a different stadium. I mean, I'm still a big proponent in things like elevation and unique small pitches, baseball stadiums. I think that's harder to get used to than fans. I mean, anyone could get used to 8,000 screaming people.
Right.
You can't get used to playing on a wonky stadium once per year.
And especially Phoenix can get used to 8,000 screaming people because, you know, that's a number they pull in and then some a lot of games. So I think
where is it going to be at in Louisville? Isn't it on a nice?
The University of Louisville's soccer field, which is where Lou City played their Open Cup games.
I hear it's high quality though.
It is. So I went to one of those Open Cup games. It's a very nice stadium. It has a cool wedge on one of the behind one of the goals, and that's where I sat with the Luligans, and it was really nice. And the pitch is super nice. And when we were there, they were in the process of they had grown the grass wider so that it could be a standard size pitch. So honestly, I haven't seen the Phoenix grass up close, but honestly, the field itself, the pitch itself, is probably going to be closer to Phoenix's home field, more so than obviously Louisville's.
A lot less dirt. Phoenix's home field.
A lot less spray paint from what I've heard.
Let's not talk about that. Yeah. I'm so glad the final's not going to be A at Red Bull Arena and then B on a baseball field.
I think that's the biggest win is that we have 2 independent sides, going at it, and that is awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
We got chirped that a couple times this in the build up to a couple of the playoff games. It was, hey, I just want the indie teams in. It's like, all right, yeah, it's fair. Anyway, I guess we'll segue into it. Louisville City playing at home, 5. Red Bull 2-1. Ilya Illich in the 23rd. Spencer in the 32nd. Tom Barlow gets one back for Red Bulls in the 60th. And you go, this will be a fun, final half hour. Speedy Williams gets a hat trick in 11 minutes. Scores in the 64th, the 73rd, and the 75th. And then who else but Brian Ownby in the 81st puts the game away, if it wasn't already. Or I guess he just figured, oh, well, it's a playoff game, so that means I have to score.
That's 6 goals.
Is it? Oh yeah, look at that. That is 6. How did I do that?
Did they score 6? I didn't watch the game. Did they score? I don't on here somewhere.
No, it was 5-1. I think maybe Williams had 2 instead of 3, but I may be wrong about that.
I think you're right. Let me go find out.
That's we're all desperately checking.
Yeah, someone find it. I'm sure someone's already getting there and is closer than I am. Regardless, Lucy, a commanding win. 5-1. Maybe not the fight we were expecting out of Red Bull, especially after their last game against Cincy. But yeah, I mean that's a solid win. Huge momentum for Lou City. The only problem, and we don't know what Cortez's injury is like for Phoenix. We don't know what Cam Lancaster's injury is like for Louisville. Good news, when you have a guy like Speedy Williams that can come off the bench and score 2 goals in a conference final, he's going to have some confidence and some momentum going into the cup final. So I almost wouldn't be surprised to see him start. But
I think Luke Spencer is one of the best off the bench strikers in the USL.
It's worrying that they have 2 of those guys.
Right.
Guys, I guess, what are some takeaways here on Louisville? Just not playing around and getting to their getting to defend their title now.
I mean, they're good. I mean, I think it doesn't matter who Louisville plays. I think if they're playing like this, they win the East basically every time. I don't care who they're going up against.
Yeah.
And I think almost 5-1, it was almost more lopsided than that. Louisville was just that unbelievably good. I mean, I was stunned.
Can you just say it would have been 6 so I sound better?
Sure, it should have been 6. But it was one of those games where Louisville just dominated both sides of the ball, and early on it seemed like New York had almost no chance. I mean, I think early on, the Turf Monster saved a penalty against New York early on in the game, but this was just such a blowout, and Louisville looks so good, and this is what has afraid of happening in New York eventually, because these guys had 4 shutouts all season, and then they shut out 2 opponents, and 2 quality opponents in the first round of the playoffs. It's just one of those where it's coming. They're as talented as some of their defenders are. They're not this good, and I think the dam broke and Louisville piled on. It was one of those. New York is a good, fun to watch team, but that defense is so bad. Ever since the year they won it all, where their defense was great. Since then, it's just been a disaster.
I've been really surprised at how well Red Bull has been able to defend, because that's not something you think about with their system. You don't think about shutouts with the Red Bull high pressing system much, and so I don't know. And I almost felt like the dam was going to break with them on that,
and this was an example of what it looks like when it goes wrong,
right?
For that system, because you look at possession. They pretty much dominated it. It wasn't 67-33 like Orange County had against Phoenix, but 56-43 as an away team is awesome. You take that every time you get it. And same idea with Orange County here. Red Bull, 15 shots, 3 on target. It's bad. That's real bad. And yeah, their defense, like obviously Hassan Ndam is an absolute stud, and his stock within that organization could not be any higher than it is, because he's played lights out in the playoffs for the most part. Gives up a kind of cheap penalty in this game, but besides that one mistake, he's been phenomenal. As a fan of the Union organization, kind of hurts to say, but it is what it is. But yeah, Louisville, listen, this is what they're built for. They have depth for days, and this score probably wouldn't have been any different if Lancaster played 90.
Yeah, right. I also want to hear, I'm excited for your interviews this week as well, because I really want to hear from those coaches, like how they chose to neutralize their opponents, because it worked in both cases. So I'm really curious, I don't know, to see what their focus was in game planning, and see if that's what it was that made it work.
I will say there is a tattoo on the line here, not for me personally, but yeah.
Ooh. What are we talking
about? A certain John Hackworth might have made a promise that if Louisville win the whole thing, he's going to get ink. So I'm definitely going to ask him about that.
Oh my gosh, this is good stuff.
Hey, I got some friends in Kentucky that are looking out for me. That's all I'm saying.
This is amazing.
Yeah. So I'm very excited. Anyway.
I think we should ask everybody a fun question, and that be
no, that's totally a part of it for sure.
What right here, what tattoo Evan, tattoo would you get? Would you tell your team, I'll get this tattoo if we go all the way?
Oh, what would it be? At least for Bethlehem, it would be just the I-beam, which is actually cool looking. So
good point.
Save myself the embarrassment.
I would almost want to make it something stupid. I don't know.
You just get a fleur-de-lis. That'd be cool.
That's true. The fleur-de-lis would be good. Just the crest.
Kev, what would your Portland Timbers tattoo? You have a lot of options. I'm kind of jealous.
I don't know if I would be able to settle on one. I had seriously considered getting one when we won the 2015 MLS Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I could get, there's a lot of different things I could do.
Yeah.
If I wasn't like A, broke, and B, like not afraid of needles, but like I don't want to get poked a bajillion times to get some ink. I would probably already have one.
Fair.
No, like I couldn't. The thing is, like, I couldn't really decide, and I can't. That's not something I can think of off the top of my head. I can tell you one thing. I've put a lot of thought into it, and I still can't decide.
Fair enough.
Okay, I just thought of what I would want it to get.
All right,
if
go for it.
this year St. Louis went all the way. Ready?
Yeah.
One is a buttoned up British Pulis with like a nice smirk on his face, staring down angry angry Preki.
Okay, very good. Very good.
I think that would be nice.
That's like a multiple session tattoo though.
Yeah, it is for sure. I'd go in for color and everything. Shading.
Yeah.
You got to get that smirk correct.
You do. You really do.
Angry Preki, like
I want him to lay down the outline for that smirk like 5 times. It's one of those.
And I'll get plastic surgery on the Pulisa, and then like Preki's just gonna get wrinklier and angrier every.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Pony, what would your Sacramento Republic related tattoo be?
I don't know. I mean, I would just take the safe answer. Just say you just got to go with the crest and hope your team doesn't rebrand the next year.
Can you can your tattoo in fact just be like the FC Cincinnati logo, like upside down, showing it's in distress or something?
I almost made that joke, and I decided to avoid talking about them.
There we go. Can't wait for you can't go a week without talking about us people to come back.
And I didn't bring it up.
Alternating caps and lowercase letters, please. Thank you so much. So yeah, guys, just for the folks at home and to be a nice show for the league, it is Louisville City versus Phoenix, the USL Cup final, ESPN 2, Thursday, November 8th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. Phoenix's first trip, they're feeling away about it. Louisville, the defending champions, they're looking to win back-to-back titles for the first time in USL history, I believe, and remain undefeated. I put it home, but that's not exactly correct. They're looking to remain undefeated in the state of Kentucky in the postseason in USL play. So a lot to chew on. Again, stay tuned for those interviews. I will tweet about them when I know when they're happening, so everyone's in the loop. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. Add us on the Twitters and ask away. If they're good, I'll totally try to ask them. If they're not, probably won't, because respectful people's times. So there you go. Guys, the other bit of news that came out, as it is prone to do around this time of year, was the USL All-League first and second teams. And I figured we'd talk about those, and then we did some voting of our own, and I figured we'd go over that, and then we will be done. So, that being said, USL All-League first team, your goalkeeper Max Crepeau from Ottawa, defenders Paco Craig of Louisville, Joe Greenspan of Pittsburgh, and Forrest Lasso of Cincinnati. Midfielders Ta Anunga of Charleston, Solomon Asante of Phoenix, Emmanuel Ledesma of Cincinnati, Aiden Quinn of Orange County. Forwards Thomas Voltson of Orange County, Cam Lancaster of Louisville, and Daniel Rios.
Oh, I forgot his first. I think that's right.
Rios of North Carolina FC. It's all right. I have all their stats and things pulled up. Max Crepeau makes the first team. USL regular season record 15 shutouts, 82 saves across 31 appearances for a 7.26 save percentage. This is a guy that we admitted to not talking about enough at the end of the season, because I think Brandon Miller, who's the goalkeeper for the Charlotte Independence, was like, yo, 15 clean sheets. And we were all like, oh yeah, that's right. So nice to see Max get some love from the media and others here.
And don't forget they had defensive problems in the very beginning too. So that's a big thing.
Right. Ottawa's really shaky on the back line for a lot of the season.
Yeah.
It's one of those, sometimes the best player doesn't have to be from one of the top teams.
Defenders, Parker Craig makes it second among defenders, 239 duels won. Top 5 among defenders, 133 aerials, 171 possession recoveries. Joe Greenspan led the Hounds defense, tied the USL regular season record with 17 shutouts. He put up 176 clearances, 67.1% of duels, and 76.2% of aerial duels. And then Forrest Lasso makes it back on the first team again. 223 clearances, second in the league with 32 block shots, 172 aerials, and an 82.7% success rate. Like I said last week, if he could have finished in the air against Red Bull, we'd be looking at Cincy and Louisville in the Eastern Conference Final instead, and who knows how that goes. Guys, any thoughts on any of these defenders? A very Eastern Conference defensive first team here.
Someone mentioned that the first team only has 3 Westerners, actually. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
Whoops. It is.
I will say I agree, especially with the back line. That's almost like those are 3 of the guys that I picked. But I was only going by like eyeball test. I wasn't looking at stats. They actually looked at a lot of stats, I'm sure. So yeah, I don't know. Anyone disagree? I feel like they're pretty good choices.
Yeah, there's nothing here that's egregious, at least.
Oh, I guess we're not talking about our picks, but yeah. Let's just move on, maybe.
Midfield Ta'anunga led outfield players with 308 possession recoveries, 72 tackles won, 83.51 passing accuracy on 52.5 passes per 90 minutes, which is crazy. Solomon Asante, 13 goals, 8 assists to lead Phoenix Rising to a top 3 finish, obviously. Third in the league in chances created with 98 and fourth in chances created from open play with 56. Emmanuel Ledesma, I don't think I need to explain why he's here, but I'll do it anyway. 16 assists in the regular season, 16 goals. First player in USL history with 15 and 15 in the same season. And then Aiden Quinn, so happy to see him here. I'm very much the, pastor and proprietor of the Church of Quinn. Played every minute of the regular season, which I think is enough to get you on here, just about. 11 goals, 14 assists, led the league with 103 chances created, finished second among outfield players with 289 possession recoveries. I don't see how anyone really complains about this either, right?
Yeah, Nunga was interesting to hear you list off his stuff because I hadn't considered him at all, like not at all. So that's important for a team like Charleston that we didn't expect to be as good. That had to be a big help in the midfield.
Yeah, quietly had a great season. It was one of those I really didn't think of him either. Less enough. He wasn't even the first player in Charleston I would have considered.
Yeah,
that guy made the second team.
I'm kind of a Garrett fanboy, so I put him on my list. But yeah, that's really good stuff. Someone to watch next year a little better for sure.
For sure. And then your forwards, Thomas and Voltson, Orange County, tied for second in the league with 20 goals, chance conversion rate of 28 point. I'll give him 29%. It's 28.99. So we'll call it an even 29. Also got 9 assists, 63 chances created, played every minute of the regular season for Orange County. Cameron Lancaster, again, I don't need to explain why he's here, but I'll do it. 25 goals, claimed the Golden Boot, scored at a rate of a goal every 80.16 minutes while registering 7 of his tallies from outside the penalty area. And then Daniel Rios, who quietly put together 20 goals, chance conversion rate of 32.79%, the highest of any player to record at least 15 goals in the regular season. He averaged a goal every 111 minutes. Those were the consensus number 1 and number 2 forwards, and Anna Voltson and Lancaster. But really cool to see Rios up there as well.
Yeah, deserved. That's someone we didn't talk about enough, but he is someone I followed, actually, because I was really impressed with the numbers he was putting up. And that's kind of another thing that happens. No excuses for Anunga, but with Rios, they didn't make the playoffs, so it wasn't watched as well. So,
well, and to go back, I think a big part of the reason why Greenspan made this list was because he was so clutch on set pieces for Pittsburgh down the stretch, and that's a huge thing for them. So I think a part of it was him kind of willing Pittsburgh to have some really solid momentum. Whereas, Rios, where North Carolina, they were kind of flaming out like really hard, towards the end of the season. So unfortunately, he might get overlooked because it's not as sexy of a pick as Louisville or Orange County or Phoenix or Cincy, it is what it is. Pony Kev, is there anybody in the Western Conference that you would like put up here, or just want to kind of give some credit to?
I mean, at least not to me, anyone who I'm going to be upset got left off. It's one of those where I can't really say, well, this should have been this should have been, I mean, this wouldn't have been my first team, but there'd be a lot of overlap with what I would have. And I don't think there's anyone who I think got completely snubbed here, even if I do think a couple of people should be swapped from team to team.
I know. Yeah, I'm looking at my own picks to see if I would pick anyone, but man, I'm really Eastern heavy too. Do you think that's because there were just like 3-star teams this year and then they stacked up the stats a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, I can't.
I had that thought because that's something when they brought up that there were only 3 Western guys in the list. I was like, maybe that's why. That's all I can think of. Whereas the West seemed a little closer, perhaps.
Like, I really like the guys that they put for the Western Conference in the second team.
Yeah.
You know, like I guess I'll get into it. Your goalkeeper for the second team, Josh Cohen, a Stack Republic, 117 saves, which is the second highest in the league. Save percentage is 78.52. Played every minute of the season, which is ridiculous for a goalkeeper. 12 shutouts, a .94 GAA, goals against average. Yeah, our picks, he finished second for goalkeeper of the year. So, you know, this is exactly where he should be, probably. A phenomenal season, and, you know, yeah, again, no complaints, really. The defense is really fun on the second team because it's 3 guys that I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. Like, you don't think about it, but you're like, all right, yeah, cool. Ayoze for Indy 11, 8 assists as a defender, 57 chances created, 4 goals with a 36.36% accuracy rate on his crosses. That, like, if you let Ayoze get forward this year, you were going to have some problems because, I mean, he was lethal and just really clever with the ball. Definitely a guy, I think, that has some than USL, maybe I'll say. And then the other 2 defenders, Darnell King from San Antonio, 5 assists, 24 chances created, recorded 170 possession recoveries, 69 nice interceptions, and 127 clearances, which was good enough for the best stats for San Antonio defensively in all of those categories. So, you know, they lost Sebastian Ibiaga, right? Close to New York City FC. So to have a guy like King, you know, it's a different position, but play that well is massive for them. And then Denso Kev is at ULIS. Do you know?
I think it is. He's Haitian. I just looked up that he's Haitian. So that would be the French pronunciation.
Cool. Made the 2018 USL 20 under 20, which is a really cool list. If you haven't checked that one out, it's on the website. You can literally just probably Google USL 20 under 20. It's a really fun list of guys. Second season with Sounders 2, tied for third in the league with 78 interceptions, also had 20 chances created. For a team, we were talking about it if you were here, like right when we started at about 9 o'clock, you got like 5 minutes of weird MLS talk as well as voting talk. So you're welcome. But for a team with old center backs like the Seattle Sounders have, he's going to be pretty vital for them coming up. So it's really cool that he's able to put in some good shifts with the, you know, Sounders too, as not good as that team is. But I think it's so much harder for him to be a good defender on a very bad 2 team. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's part of what makes Crapo's first team selection not surprising. Is it so much harder to be a defensive minded player or a goalkeeper on a team that just lets in a ton of goals and doesn't win games?
Yep. Throw in 20, you know, like 24 kids in rotation from the academy, you know, like they don't stand a chance at having any form of, you know, standardized defending from week to week. Yeah, that's cool that they threw that in there and that he's doing that well in that system like that. I was hoping he was American. That's why I looked him up. I was like, oh man, this 19-year-old American? He's not. So
You tried.
He might be at the CONCACAF Games U20 Gold Cup right now, perhaps, which the U.S. is playing right now.
Your midfield, Kyle Becker. I love Kyle Becker. 13 assists, 63 chances, 81.08% accuracy rate on about 49 passes every game, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Corbin Bone, which is a weird one, 11 goals, 4 assists. 83.78 passing accuracy rate and 38 chances created from open play. Bernardo Forbes led the Hounds with 8 assists, notched 4 goals. 285 possession recoveries, which is the third among outfield players, and 50 interceptions, especially for a winger in that system. Like that kind of defensive backtracking is like he can play for Bob Lilly forever.
Easily. In fact, Bob will probably try to keep him until he gets too expensive and find someone else.
Yeah. I mean, he's on an option for next year, I imagine. So I can't imagine he won't be back. So, and then Leba Maloto, 7 goals, 5 assists. Nashville got their postseason berth by the skin of their teeth. 51 chances created, 80.79 passing accuracy rate on 44 passes every game. Again, I think him and Mensah were developing really well at the beginning of the season, and then they brought in Allen, and that might have thrown things off a little bit as far as those two guys developing. But Maloto is just fun to watch.
He is. And you think maybe on a different team he would have scored or assisted a little bit more than he did. Almost definitely, right?
And I don't know if he wasn't given the freedom that he might need or be a little better at, if he's just a guy where it's all right, get the ball cut inside, try to shoot kind of thing. But I mean, 7 goals, 5 assists for anybody is massive, especially not for for a midfield player as opposed to a forward. Speaking of forwards, Haji Berry, Swope Park Rangers, 17 regular season goals, which is a new high for SPR. Set a league record with a streak of 8 consecutive games with a goal, which really helped bring SPR across the postseason line. Atula Guerra led the battery of 15 goals, got 5 assists, as well as 32 chances created from open play. I mean, we've talked about him a good bit, but it was, who's going to replace Mario Williams, and Atula Guerra stepped up and did that and then some, really.
Yep. Playing a different role on top of that.
Yep. And then Pony, your boy Kamawasa, 17 goals, 6 assists for Sacramento Republic. Single season scoring record for them as well. Also became its all-time leading scorer, and the Sac Republic finished second in the West.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a talented player, and for offense that usually struggled to get going, it was nice to have someone like that around.
Any final thoughts before we get into our picks?
I think this applies to more than one guy, but on this list. But I've been kind of weird about Corbin Bone, where I feel like I don't worry. I worry about him on the next level, like if he tries to make it with the US or the MLS team next year. To me, he doesn't pass the eye test, but when you listed off his stats, I was like, okay, it makes sense that he's in here and he scores more goals than I think he will. But man, I don't know if he's going to do much better than that.
The stat that is going to be the most important for him in MLS is his ball winning capabilities.
Yeah.
Like if he turns into like a Dago Chara with the Timbers, or like Kyle Beckerman or like Ale Bedoya, or there's a whole host of number 6s and number 8s that just win balls and that are kind of destroyer types that are massive, because if obviously one of those fundamental truths of soccer, if you control the ball in the midfield, you're doing all right. And I think his goal totals are going to just plummet into the ground. I feel really comfortable saying that, just because I don't think he's going to get those kind of looks in MLS, because he's not going to have that kind of time. But if they just say, hey, you're going to sit here, and if anyone comes your way with the ball, you're going to win it or you're going to go through them, that's great.
Yeah, and I wasn't thinking about how good he is at that, and he is. I was only focusing on those offensive stats and passing stats, but that's huge. That's really huge, and you can be, just like you said, even if those goals plummet next year, that's not that big a deal if he serves that role. That's very good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of players on either list who actually I feel good about making it in MLS. I mean, there's some that you feel have a chance, but
I mean,
if you had to make a
guy might make it in, like Alashe might make it in.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if I had to make a starting, well, I would get like an 18-player team out of only USL players. I don't think they'd be a good MLS team by any means. I think they'd be near the tail end. They might not be dumpster fire, but I don't think anyone could create a team only with USL players who is going to be a playoff MLS team. It's the skill difference is just still that much.
Well, here's the other question though, is I think we've talked about this before. What about a USL squad, say a USL All-Star squad with 2 or 3 Ps added on? Then
if you gave me that first team all 11, like they're making the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think they'll be close. I'd say they're just outside, but they're not going to be a bad team, but there's no way they're a good MLS team.
Yeah.
I guess you could say that Cincinnati has obviously one DP, and then Alashe, played for an MLS team. So what do you think? They probably would have been the worst or second or third worst in MLS in 33 games, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Oh man, Colorado were bad though.
I know. I'm thinking of them, and like Minnesota was pretty terrible. I guess Orlando had its bad looks as well.
Yeah, and Orlando was not. There was some growing pains there for sure. Anyway, do we want to start with coach and work our way back to MVP?
Let's do it. Sounds good.
Why not?
Cool. What we did, Pony was kind enough. He said, everyone vote for things. So we did it. We had MVP and then runner-up 1, 2, 3, 4. Keeper, runner-up 1, 2, 3, 4. Defender, runner-up 1, 2, 3, 4. Coach, runner-up 1, 2, 3, and 4. We all voted. Pony tabulated the things. It is, 7 points for the person we vote for MVP, and then 5 for runner-up 1, 3 for runner-up 2, 2 for runner-up 3, 1 for runner-up 4.
Yeah, that was just to make it more weighted so your first pick is worth a lot more.
Yeah. And then we came out to some winners. Coach of the year. I guess I'll just list off all, 6 people? First place, Braden Cloutier. I think, right? I'm going to go with it.
So I just listened to the broadcast. Watts said he corrected it's Cloutier.
Cloutier. I like that a lot better.
Right. He said at some point in his soccer career, people started pronouncing it the French way. And
and he just went with it?
I guess so.
Oh, so it's the Pulisic.
Right.
Exactly. Oh, it's so good. All right. Mad respect for Braden, though. All right. So Cloutier, Lilly in second, Anhauser in third, Koch in fourth, Knowles for Portland in fifth, Bethlehem Steel's Brendan Burke in fifth, John Wolniak for Red Bull 2 in sixth. So yeah, I just think it was, and I've said this like 3 weeks in a row. You look at what LA Blues were before, and you look at what, and sure, the front office had a part in this, and the rebound was really good, and LAFC came in and helped him out in terms of affiliation and all that fun stuff. But I mean, look at what the coach got out of these guys. Let's hear it. He's our coach of the year, with Bob Lilly in second, Mike Anhauser in third. Anyone want to throw some thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think I actually had Anhauser in first because I mean, it was basically rebuilt the entire team from ground up. I don't think most coaches could lose over 80% of their entire scoring from the previous season and be fine. I mean, this was a team none of us thought were like Orange County, who none of us thought would be good. But I just think the massive turnover is the deciding factor. I mean, I had the Orange County coach. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name because I'll mess it up. I had him as my second pick, but
You
I
can call
think
him Braden on a first name basis.
yeah, I just think the losing all your scoring pieces is what pushes him over the top for me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for a team who usually couldn't score.
Right.
I was glad you did that because I didn't go back and change mine after we talked about it. And after we talked about it, I was kind of reconsidering, thinking, man, I think you guys are right, because I went almost solely based on like improvement from year to year, and then one or two that are always pretty good. But yeah, that's a really good shot there, Pony. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think it's why to me, it's why those two end up ahead of the Lily and Koch, because Lily we all thought would be decent again because it's Lily ball. I mean, he managed to pull it off, getting in a new city with new players, and Koch, he was supposed to have a good team.
In some ways, Lily had less turnover with a different team, right?
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. But
oh my god, he probably did.
Yeah,
that's probably not wrong. That's really terrifying. Wow.
Brought a lot of right.
Yeah, that was good. That was good, Phil. Defender of the Year, Forrest Lasso for us. Hassan and Dom gets up there. Liam Doyle's there. Friend Hugh Roberts is up there. Bradley Bourgeois, Suggs from Colorado Springs, Joe Greenspan, and then Paco Craig and Smith, both from Louisville. This is a weird best defender / I kind of think like most improved defender list.
In Dom, is that what you mean?
And Dom and like Roberts, like he put together a good season in Pittsburgh, but I like part of that is just he fits really well in that system.
I think the system says a lot because obviously like Craig and Smith are both Louisville guys, and you know it's hard to separate one from the other. Neither one was much worse than the other, if at all. So we were kind of the same guy there, right?
Yeah. Matt Hester with a really good shout in the live chat. Honorable mention to the 3 Louisville City players who also served as temporary coaches this year for Coach of the Year.
For real. Good.
Well done, Matt. Well done.
One thing I almost mentioned earlier was Suggs, who I think is mainly on here because he by far beats everyone in the league, maybe almost doubles everyone in the league in like successful crosses, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I had him on my list, and that's why he's just that perfect defender who just gets out there on the wing and is so deadly. Yeah. He's been like that for years too. And I think he's also the only player on any of our lists that did not make the playoffs this season.
Sounds right.
That's interesting. Crepeau.
Oh yeah. Hopino. Oh, spoiler alert. We have a Reno guy on our poll, but yeah, Crepeau actually missed 2. There's 2 people who missed.
Yeah, Max and segue for keeper of the year. Matt Pickens finishes first. Then Cohen. Then Crepeau. Then Dan Lind. Then Wyszynski with Phoenix. Then McIntosh. And then Evan Newton. So there you go.
I pretty much just combined like save percentage and threw in how many clean sheets there were, and then like how many games they played was my tiebreaker, just to kind of lay out why some of these guys are in here. And one of my biggest surprises was Cohen was so good, and you know I didn't know he was that good, and obviously he made the second team in USL, so they thought that he was good too. But I just didn't know he was as good as he was this year.
Yeah,
and Wyszynski had really good stats as well. That was a bit of somewhat of a surprise to me.
Yeah, I think as the lone person who put Cohen as first overall, and I mean I honestly almost put him as my 5th place on my MVP ballot on this because he was so pivotal for Sacramento. I mean, it's pretty rare to have the person who is second in saves and played every game to be on a team who actually finished as high up as they did. Usually when you have a lot of saves, that's not a good thing because they're taking shots like crazy. And looking at it, there's Pickens is the only other person in the top 5 for saves who actually have their team make playoffs. It's one of those. There was almost no help for him on the back line compared to what some of these other keepers had.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I give it to him over Pickens, even though I still have Pickens. I think I had him second, but Cohen quietly had an amazing season for Sacramento.
Yep. I agree.
Where'd it go? There it is. And then MVP. Ledesma, Asante, Anna Voldson, Quinn, Lancaster, Opena, Illich, Cortez.
This is the big one, right?
So after all of our posturing, Ledesma still wins our MVP.
We did do a lot of posturing about this.
I remember a certain person on this podcast named Evan. New people, there's 2 people on the podcast named Evan. We call one of them Pony to avoid all of the confusion in the world. I'll let you guess which one's Pony.
It's Evan.
The one that calls himself Evan. Yeah, right. Anyway, but for all the posturing that a certain Evan on this podcast did about how Forrest Lasso was going to be, MVP over Ledesma. Ledesma finished second for MVP voting.
I think I was saying if I had to pick one Cincinnati player, I'd take Lasso.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But
I did misquote you, which I feel like is a common theme in your life. I apologize.
I said I think Lasso is far better than replacement level at his position than Ledesma is. But it's also the argument of get down to MVP. Is MVP valuable or best? That's also a different argument. Because if it's best, I think it's Ledesma.
MVP award, Pony. Although that's how they pronounce it in Spanish-speaking countries.
But yeah, that's one of that. That has technicalities where I think, although I think it does switch who wins. In my opinion, it switches who wins. Because if you go best player, Ledesma, valuable, Asante. But that's just one of those rabbit holes that get down quite a bit of the best player is not necessarily the most valuable player. I think if neither team had they both went down week 1 with a season-ending injury, I think Cincinnati fills in Ledesma much better than Phoenix fills in for Phoenix. Well, Phoenix fills in for Asante.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kev, are you alive? Do you have any thoughts?
I assumed he had to leave.
I'm here.
All right. Hey, hi, Kev.
I'm alive. I have no thoughts. My mind is
that's fine.
like a slate. Calm sea.
Well, you were the only one that put Lancaster first. Do you want to talk about why you picked Lancaster?
I could. My real reasons for it, though, I don't know if anyone noticed any of my picks. There was a certain team that I specifically kept out of any of my picks. So I replaced the person that probably should have been MVP with Lancaster, just as I don't know, because I felt like it. I was voting from the hip. Asante was my second choice.
Well, can I talk about my one guy who I think is really underrated?
Yeah, go for it.
Granted, he plays for Louisville, but after I looked through all the stats that I was trying to do a decent amount of research for this, I noticed that Illich was, pretty high or pretty middle of the road for assists and goals. He had 13 goals and 10 assists, and I thought that was really good compared to a lot of the other guys that were kind of up there on both those categories. So, yeah, he had to have been huge. And I guess it's almost like a chicken or egg argument where Lancaster's finishing. So was Lancaster especially a good finisher, or was Illich putting in awesome assists that made Lancaster that much better? And it doesn't hurt that Spencer was so good off the bench. So it makes you wonder, how good is Illich? And he definitely didn't get much, appreciation from us throughout the year. And, I have this habit of trying to pick hipster picks on everything. And so I guess I was trying to look for the deep dive guy that was better than I realized. And Illich is definitely that guy for me. I really, really liked what he did this year. I'm gonna watch him better next year. Just like I already forgot his name from Charleston.
Guys, I think that's it. I think we should get out of here. Real quick, let me get some plugs off. Thank you to Roughneck Scarves for sponsoring this. Check them out, roughneckscarves.com, if you need MLS USL national team, as well as scarves for your club or fundraiser E-type use. Roughneckscarves.com. Go there. Also, big thanks to Beautiful Game Network podcast for uploading this and producing it for us. Thanks to Mike. BGN.FM on the internets and at the BGN FM on Twitter. Also, if you're looking for USL news in a written fashion, at USL News. That's where you can find the BGN written stuff, which is really good. We have a really good and very nice stable of writers that I'm super happy that we get to work with. That I'm going to try to get my paws all over this offseason and into this next season, especially with us. Having some more interaction with the league. That'll be fun. If you want to follow the show, you can do that at the USL Show on Twitter. There's a bunch of you. Welcome. If you want to listen to this podcast live every week, you can certainly do that. YouTube.com/the USL Show, or we just tweet it out when it goes live. Easy enough, right? It's a good way to interact with us, early and get your thoughts out on the show and in real time. And we usually at least look at them, if not talk about them directly. So that's always fun. But if you can't, for whatever reason, listen live most Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, we also are on iTunes and Stitcher and anywhere else you download your podcast, or you can just go to the USLshow.com and listen to all of our archives from there. We've done some really cool stuff this year. I know I'm biased, but it's my show. I get to say that. You can also check out our good friends at Soccer Loco. There's a blue and orange box, or if you're colorblind, it's a gray and gray box. Click on that. Buy any soccer thing that you could imagine. It's good stuff. DK will send it to you. You can also check out our Patreon, patreon.com/the USL Show. Totally optional, but thank you so much if you support us monetarily. As for me, if you want to follow myself personally, at SpeakEvanSpeak on Twitter. And before I give it up to everybody else, please vote tomorrow. Please. Just do it. It's a civic duty. Thank you. I don't care who you vote for. I really don't. Just do it. Because if you don't, then you can't complain. That's how that works.
Yep.
Kev, where can people find you on the internet?
Twitter, at CamishPDX.
Easy enough.
Yep.
Phil, where can people find you on the internet?
Phil Grooms, 2 L's, 2 O's.
I love it. Pony, where can people direct their vitriol towards you too?
At the most professional handle on Twitter is at Iron Pony Chef.
What's amazing to me is that you can change that anytime you'd like. I mean, I've done it this year.
I think you're doing it for a long time. I think you only did it once.
And
brand now, man. Don't rebrand.
Yeah,
it is your brand now. You would have to keep
for Orange County.
That's true. Well, that's fair.
And Phoenix. I mean,
you have to keep the pony though.
Of course.
It's like no one knows that you're Evan. You're just Pony.
It works out well.
Soccer Pony?
Pony soccer.
I would suggest soccer with Pony, but that's very close to a friend of ours' Twitter handle. I'll plug our international correspondent, and usually the man that puts the show in show notes. He does them a lot better than I do. Ryan Allen, you can find him at my favorite airport. Not literally, but my favorite airport geotag at ILM_Ryan. He tweets out really good stuff about analytics and such. So go give him a follow, please, and thank you.
He needs to move to Portland so I can hire him.
We'll work on that.
Yeah,
I'll have to get you his contact information. I know you don't have it. Yeah. Guys, thanks for sticking with us this whole season. I'm really excited for those interviews I have coming up. Hopefully, once I get confirmation if they're happening, that'll be great. If you're new, super awesome that you found us and that you hopefully like us. If you're listening to this for the first time and you don't like us, I'm sorry. But yeah, until next week when we get to talk about the champion of USL in 2018. We only have one rule here, and that's don't be a dick. Take care, everybody.